July 2, 1950. The world was still recovering from the shadows of World War II. Air travel, a symbol of progress and wonder, was about to be marred by an unprecedented act of terror. TWA Flight 903, a sleek Lockheed Constellation, was poised to embark on a routine journey from Cairo to Rome. Little did the passengers and crew know that a sinister plot was about to unfold, forever etching their flight into the annals of aviation history as one of the world's first hijackings. The atmosphere aboard Flight 903 was one of anticipation and excitement. The passengers were filled with a sense of adventure, eager to embark on their journeys. Passengers settled into their plush seats, eager to reach their destinations. The seats, upholstered in rich fabrics, provided a level of comfort that made the journey pleasant. The hum of the engines provided a soothing backdrop as the aircraft soared into the azure sky. The rhythmic sound was almost hypnotic, lulling some passengers into a peaceful slumber. Among them were seasoned travelers, families on vacation, and businessmen embarking on international ventures. Each passenger had their own story, their own reason for being on this flight. Unbeknownst to them, a storm was brewing, hidden within the heart of a seemingly ordinary passenger. This individual, with a calm exterior, harbored secrets that would soon unravel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you are enjoying your flight. Our crew is here to ensure you have a comfortable and pleasant journey. If there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to ask. We are here to assist you in any way possible.
The sun cast warm rays through the cabin windows, illuminating the faces of the passengers. The golden light created a serene and almost magical atmosphere inside the plane. Laughter and conversation filled the air as new acquaintances were made. Strangers became friends, sharing stories and experiences, adding to the convivial mood. Stewardesses, the epitome of grace and efficiency, attended to the passengers' needs, ensuring their comfort. Their smiles and professionalism added to the overall pleasant experience.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are cruising at an altitude of 20,000 feet and expect to arrive in Rome on schedule. The weather ahead looks clear, and we anticipate a smooth flight. Thank you for flying with us. We appreciate your trust and hope you have a wonderful experience.
A sense of normalcy pervaded the air, masking the impending terror that lurked just moments away. The calm before the storm was deceptive, hiding the chaos that was about to unfold. Among the passengers was a man named James William Murray, an American ex-soldier with a troubled past and a dangerous secret. Driven by a potent cocktail of delusion and desperation, Murray harbored a plan that would plunge the flight into chaos. His heart pounded with a toxic mix of adrenaline and anxiety as he clutched a small concealed pistol, its cold steel a stark contrast to the warmth of the cabin.
Stay calm, you've got this, no turning back now.
Murray's outward appearance betrayed nothing of the turmoil raging within him. To the casual observer, he seemed like any other passenger. However, beneath his calm facade lay a web of desperation and anger. He believed he was being pursued by communists. His mind, clouded by paranoia, had convinced him that hijacking the plane was his only means of escape. As the flight progressed smoothly over the Mediterranean Sea, the passengers were relaxed, enjoying the serene views from their windows. The unsuspecting crew prepared for their scheduled stopover in Rome, unaware of the impending danger that lurked just moments away. It was at this moment of seeming tranquility that Murray chose to strike, his intentions hidden behind a mask of normalcy until the very last second. His carefully constructed facade crumbling as he barged into the cockpit, brandishing his weapon with a menacing glare that sent shivers down the spines of the pilots. The calmness of the cockpit was shattered, the serene environment replaced by the cold steel of Murray's gun and the chilling sound of his voice commanding attention. The pilots, initially frozen in shock, quickly realized the gravity of the situation as Murray's demands echoed through the confined space.
Change course, fly to Palestine now, he barked, his voice filled with a mix of desperation and authority.
Murray's demands were as unexpected as they were terrifying, leaving the crew and passengers in a state of shock and disbelief. He ordered the pilots to change course immediately and fly to Palestine, a destination far from their intended path. His voice, laced with a mixture of fear and determination, left no room for misunderstanding, making it clear that he was not to be trifled with.
All right, just stay calm, the pilot responded, trying to diffuse the tension. We'll do as you say. No one needs to get hurt, he added, hoping to reassure the hijacker and keep the situation from escalating further.
The pilots, seasoned professionals trained to remain calm under pressure, found themselves in an unprecedented situation, their training put to the ultimate test. They knew they were now pawns in a dangerous game, their lives and the lives of their passengers hanging precariously in the balance, every decision they made crucial to their survival. News of the hijacking spread through the cabin like wildfire, transforming the atmosphere from one of tranquility to sheer terror.
Passengers, initially confused by the abrupt change in course, were soon gripped by the chilling realization that their lives were in jeopardy.
The realization dawned slowly, spreading like a virus through the confined space.
Whispers turned to gasps, then to outright panic.
Fear etched itself onto the faces of the passengers, their eyes wide with a mixture of disbelief and terror.
Mothers clutched their children tightly, their silent tears speaking volumes of their unspoken fears.
The normalcy of the flight had been irrevocably shattered, replaced by a suffocating blanket of uncertainty.
The once comforting hum of the engines now sounded like a death knell, each passing moment an agonizing reminder of their precarious situation.
The pilots, caught between the barrel of a gun and the lives entrusted to them, faced a harrowing dilemma. They were acutely aware that complying with Murray's demands could have catastrophic consequences, yet defying him could prove equally fatal. Fuel, the lifeblood of their airborne prison, was dwindling rapidly, adding another layer of urgency to the already dire situation.
We need to make him understand. Diverting to Palestine is logistically impossible with our fuel supply.
The pilots, skilled negotiators as much as aviators, tried to reason with Murray, explaining the dire consequences of his demands. They emphasized the limited fuel supply, stressing that diverting to Palestine was logistically impossible. Their words, however, fell on deaf ears. Murray, captive to his delusions, remained steadfast in his demands. With time running out and fuel reserves dwindling, the pilots made a daring decision. They knew that any misstep could spell disaster, but they had no other choice. They would feign compliance with Murray's demands while secretly plotting a course for an emergency landing. The stakes were incredibly high, and the margin for error was razor-thin. Their hope was to land at an airfield close enough to their intended route to avoid arousing Murray's suspicion. Every second counted, and every decision had to be perfect. It was a risky gamble, one that hinged on Murray's ignorance and their ability to maintain a facade of normalcy. The pilots had to act as if everything was under control, even though their hearts were pounding.
We'll have to keep him in the dark. We can't let him know what we're planning. We'll pretend to comply, but aim for an emergency landing instead. It's our only shot at getting out of this alive.
The tension in the cockpit was palpable, a thick fog of fear and uncertainty. Every glance exchanged between the crew members carried the weight of their unspoken fears. Each crackle of static over the radio, every fluctuation in the engine's hum, sent a fresh wave of anxiety through the crew. They were on edge, knowing that any moment could be their last.
What are you whispering about? Keep this plane on course or else. Murray's voice was a constant reminder of the danger they were in.
Murray, growing increasingly agitated, paced the cramped space behind them like a caged animal, his finger never straying far from the trigger of his weapon. The pilots knew that one wrong move could set him off, and they had to be ready for anything. As the plane descended towards the chosen landing strip in Cairo, Egypt, Murray, sensing a shift in the atmosphere, grew increasingly suspicious. The pilots, their nerves stretched to a breaking point, struggled to maintain their composure. Their every word and action, a carefully calculated move in a high-stakes game of deception. The landing, rough and uncontrolled, did little to quell the rising tension.
Oh my god, we're landing. What's happening?
The moment the wheels touched down, chaos erupted. Passengers, driven by a primal instinct to survive, rushed towards the exits, their screams echoing the terror that had gripped them for hours.
No, this isn't right. You tricked me.
Murray, his plans foiled, panicked. He attempted to flee the aircraft but was quickly apprehended by Egyptian authorities who had been alerted to the situation. The cabin was a cacophony of sound, sobbing relief, frantic shouts, and the hurried commands of the authorities. The hijacking of TWA Flight 903 sent shockwaves through the world. It marked a turning point in aviation history, exposing the vulnerability of commercial air travel to acts of terrorism. The event served as a wake-up call, forcing airlines and governments worldwide to confront the very real threat of hijackings and implement stricter security measures. James William Murray, the troubled man who had held Flight 903 hostage, was extradited to the United States to face charges for his crimes. His story, a tragic tale of mental instability and desperation, highlighted the complex motivations behind such acts of violence. The hijacking of Flight 903, though a terrifying ordeal for those involved, ultimately paved the way for enhanced security protocols and a greater understanding of the psychological factors that could lead to such incidents. It remains a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the ever-present need for vigilance in a world grappling with increasingly complex threats.